Hello everybody, welcome into Rock Painting 101. We are still doing mandalas this month. I'm telling you, I feel a little more comfortable, but I'm still learning. One of the things I was excited about getting this month to play around with is a tool that somebody shares a lot in our group. It's called a pip. Milestone Handmade Keepsakes makes these, and he posts a lot of videos, and I've wanted one for a long time, and so finally I have one, and I have to say it was really helpful for creating, not only you can use them for dot mandalas, but I'm going to do a line style mandala today. So I got a lighter rock here. This one doesn't have a base coat on it. This is the 6 dot one. It comes with a few different amounts of dots, like some, I believe it goes 7, 5. So you can go odd or even, whatever you would like to do. And see, it's just this piece of leather, and it's nice and pliable. So even if you don't have perfectly flat, round rocks, they kind of, the edges drape over, so you can kind of place it where you want to on the rock. These little weights kind of help hold down the edges for you. And all you have to do is come in and put dots in each of the pre-made holes that they have here for you. So I'm just going to kind of go in here. This is just a little white chalk pencil. I'm just going to add a little dot for a guideline for us. When you remove that, that's kind of hard for you to maybe see, just because it's on a lighter rock, but I can see all the dots just fine. Sharon says she doesn't have sound. Kim, you have sound. Okay, good. Sharon, hopefully it pops in for you. Otherwise, I would tell you to refresh, but you won't hear me. So he uses a measuring tape. I don't have a fabric style measuring tape. You want something that can kind of bend with your rock a little bit. You know how much I love to use my Post-it notes for everything. So what we're going to do is we're going to actually use these dots as guidelines. Now remember, your pencil might be a bit thicker, so if you need to place your pencil and then nudge it up to there, do that. And we're just going to place our guidelines on our rock. And this makes such a difference when you're building a mandala on sometimes not such a flat rock, first of all. So sometimes it dips and curves. And also, just as you get further and further away from the center with your mandala, it can be tricky to keep the lines kind of even. And so that's why on our mandala landing page, we say, when you're starting line mandalas, sometimes it's better to do half shapes or half circles, or do it inside of another shape, so you don't have to try to create a circle. But I mean, this one was an off-shaped rock, so we had a few extras. But look at, it held its shape pretty good. This is the first time I ever used it. I did one before I got on live, just because, you can't do everything the very first time live. So there we go. So for those of you joining in, I'm using my pip to give myself these nice grid on my rock. Just used a charcoal pencil. I'll rub it real light. It's easy to come off. You can use a damp Q-tip if you need. If it's even showing, I ended up kind of going over most of it here. I also have a few different colors of paint, and I colored this in using my dotting utensils because my rocks, these ones aren't super duper smooth, and so these were really good for kind of laying the paint down and moving it around, not getting brush strokes. And instead of using my pens, I wanted to do something else in case you don't have pens. So I have my micron. This is the largest size that comes in the 5-pack. I'm going to use this to create my design just because I'm not that steady with a brush, and I'm not that skilled yet using these. So we're just going to kind of doodle our design on here. We're going to use these guides to create a really fun lined shape mandala. So the first thing we're going to do is create a center for our design. And it's so easy because you're basically making a circle, but each piece of your pie, you want it to be about the same size. So I always worry, I want my outside line to be crisp in the shape I want. I don't worry about my inside line because I'm going to paint over it. So just like that, if I'm going to using my chalk, I like to doodle off the tip of my pens every once in a while because you can get some chalk on there and it will dry it out. Also, use a very, very light touch here when you're using this. Okay, there's lots of different shapes that you can use when creating mandalas. You can do points, arches, kind of petal shapes, leaf shapes. So I'm just going to kind of get doodling here. The way I've got my camera, I can't really see what you guys are saying all that much, but you can definitely chat amongst yourself. Let everybody know where you're from. Maybe you'll find a rock painting buddy from your same area that's watching live today as well. So I'm just going to find a point that I'm heading to. So if I split these two lines right in the middle and leave myself a dot, I'm going to make triangles out to that dot. I also rotate my rock every time because I like to pull my lines and create my designs in the same direction. It helps you keep them uniform. And then in between each round or row, look, see there's like a dot there. That's like a little indent on my rock. I like to use a very light touch with this pen because you will wear down the tips of these. Once you do each round, take a second. Like I said, you want the outside lines to look the way you want it. The inside is going to be painted over. So if you need to fix any lines, wasn't quite straight, or wasn't quite as large as the other ones, you can do that in between rows. And if you see, I'm dabbing my pen on the palm of my skin in between instead of my paper. I'll have a nice little design when we're done. So now we'll just do another layer out. So I'm just gonna continue doing this around the rock, like so. Alrighty, so we've got our middle to our mandala. And now I'm going to start kind of beefing things up. I'm going to make the design grow quite a bit faster just because otherwise you guys will be on here for like an hour today. And I'm sure not everybody has time for that. So I'm going to continue the same style of design. So I'm going to have my point in between here so I can follow my line. So let's just make my dot about here. I want to try to do the same distance up the line each place. Out there. If you want to get very precise, you could always pull out your Post-it note and kind of measure how far out your dot you want or your line you need to go. For people that, you know, create rocks as gifts or sell them, I would highly recommend that to keep it really precise. But for this, I'm just kind of having some fun. I'll end up hiding this one around town. So I'm going to pull right to that point that I already have kind of created. Again, that's why I rotate my rock in between each one because I'm pulling the same style of line every time. It helps a lot with getting consistent lines. Here we go, just like that. And I'm going to continue the same pattern all the way out the rock. So I'm just going to do the double lines out here, like so. Try to get a good arch there, whoops. At this point, we're almost going to have like a circle shape when it's said and done. So in between, like I said, in between each area, see, I'm a little further up my dot here, or my triangle. So after this layer, I'll kind of take a peek and make adjustments. See, I'm at the tip on these triangles and I'm not on the other ones. So I got to find out where my issue's at, how I'll fix that. I might just fix that first set of lines. Again, like I said, we're going to paint this, so it's okay to make adjustments. See, I feel like this one maybe is a little bit taller of a triangle in the first place. So we're going to pull that triangle up a little. And now we're going to meet it over here. There we go. There we go. And we'll fix the rest of that when we're painting. All right. Now you can do a lot of dots and designs when you're filling in, like with this one here. See, I added a lot of little dots once the main pieces were painted in. I'm trying to not get carried away with this design because I don't want to give myself something too crazy to try to paint while you guys are on today. So we're going to start with this. I can continue to add on to the design. Obviously, you see the lines go all the way out to the edge of the rock. But I just kind of want to show you, for those that don't have as much time to hang out today, how we go about painting these, or how I'm going about painting these rocks. So I've got some of my dotting tools here, lots of different sizes. For the bigger circle, I'm going to use the biggest one I've got over here to fill that in. But they work really great on these rocks to kind of move the paint around. So I actually want my center dot to be black on this one. So what I like to do is I like to make sure your lid's on really tight and give your paints a nice little shake. And if you take your lid off, you've got a little pool of paint in there. You don't have to worry about wasting paint. So I'm just going to take my daughter, get a nice amount of paint on there, and place this right in the center of my rock. And I have a larger dotting tool, but it's off to the other side. I don't want to look around for it, so I'm just going to go ahead and use this one to create that center. And then I usually work, which I forgot to grab, hopefully I don't bump my camera grabbing it. I usually work with a cheap washcloth to clean off the ends of my tools in between rounds. And I don't know if I'm going to use any other black on base colors. I'll probably add some black dotting and things like that later. So I'll go ahead and put the cap back on that. I've also got a pink and purple and teal. I'm trying to kind of stick with these same colors. My daughter loves the combination, so I figure why not, make something she'll love. So for these triangles that are coming off the center, I'm going to use a slightly smaller daughter. It's funny, dabber, daughter. If I say daughter, it makes me think son and daughter. Get a good amount of paint on there. And if you place it in the center, kind of place down a dot and drag it. What I've been doing, and this isn't the right one. Hold on, let me grab a different one. I had one that had a very pointy tip. Here we go. It's this one here. Sorry. So this has got a ball on one side and a pointy tip on the other. So what I was doing is you dab the ball of paint in there really kind of close just to kind of get some paint in there. And then if you flip, you can use the other side to really pull that paint out to that tip and really move it where you want it to go. Just be careful not to get into that black while it's wet. Okay, just like that. And we will clean up our edges when we're all said and done. So more worried about filling in the shapes first. So we're going to dot that into that center and then flip again. Really pull that paint out to the tip. There we go. Just like that. Now, like I said, this is probably going to be a longer live, you guys. I can't see the comments. I got to kind of be down close to my rock to be able to do these fine details. But as always, if you're watching live, if it says live in the upper left-hand corner, I will answer those questions later. I always come back onto the page and try to answer questions if you have any. If you are just joining in, and you weren't here at the beginning and you see these white lines, my guidelines on here, I used this pip over here to create that nice little leather tool that an awesome rock painting couple, they make them and sell them in their Etsy shop. And I'm telling you, they are fantastic. If you have problems keeping your lines, evenly spaced, it really kind of keeps you in check as you go along. But see how you can use these tools, you can get that paint right into that tip. With brushes, I would never be able to do this. I might be able to with pens. I don't even know with pens if I'd be able to get quite into there the same way. So that's the last one here, pink. Here we go. So wipe off that tool. Bring it up a little bit closer so you can kind of see. See how you can get that paint right in there like that. So I'm going to continue along and use these tools to paint the rock. Like I said, I wish I could turn on music, you guys. If it's live, I'm not allowed to play music that I don't own the rights to on Facebook. So the silence. That's why I talk to myself so much when I'm on these lives, or I talk to you all so much. Because the silence, to me, I can hear the kids. There's some kids playing outside. I just heard my stomach rumble a couple seconds ago. So if you ever feel like I ramble too much, that's why. I'm not a good at silence around me person. So I'm going to go in and do these teal, do the same thing, just add a little dot, and then use this really pointy tip to get it into those crevices. I find, especially because not all my rocks, I get most of my rocks at landscaping companies. So I get a decent amount in there. I mean, I get to hand pick them, but some of them will kind of be a little lumpier and bumpier, but I still want to paint them all. So something like this, when you place the paint down with these tools, the lumps and bumps just don't seem to matter as much. It kind of dabs that paint down into those little crevices really well. And you're able to get a nice looking rock. I don't like to pay a lot for my rocks because about 90% of them I just go and I hide them around anyways. So, and we paint a lot of rocks at my house, as I'm sure you can imagine. Okay, I'm going to get a bigger tool and just go ahead and move right into this area with the teal. I'm just going to kind of swipe a good chunk of up there and just kind of place it in there like so. Just being careful not to go too nuts there. I don't want to make a big mess. You can really move it around. Oh, like see, I think you probably just heard that. My stomach is making all sorts of noise. I did mention at the beginning, it's probably because it's like, I need my second cup of coffee. I've only had 1 cup of coffee today. I try not to do too much coffee before I do these styles of rocks. If you're a coffee drinker, try to limit your caffeine before trying out mandalas because you need your hands to not get shaky. I mean, my hands aren't shaky if I'm just typing and doing everyday stuff, but when I try to really focus in and do something like this, my hands will start shaking if I've had a little bit too much coffee in my system. So if you find you have issues with keeping steady hands, if you're a caffeine drinker, you might have to plan accordingly. There we go. Put that in here. I haven't gotten any purple into this design. I think I'll do the circle stripes in purple once we get this teal in here. And then we're going to do our bigger triangles in pink so they match. Now I try not to put too much paint down on the rock. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. This was the one I messed up. I didn't fix it here either. Let's see. This needs to come out to probably, let's get a little bit more paint here. Maybe about there. We're going to have to come back in and add that black line. This is where we kind of almost ended up with a spiral. There we go. But if you put too much paint, if you're not working with the base coat, the paint will dry into your rock. So you don't want to put too much down. Like you wouldn't want to dot all 6 sections and then try to spread them, because they'll start to dry up on you a little bit. All right, and we'll fix that a little bit with our lining when we're done. All right, so let's clean up this teal. And we're gonna go into purple. We'll get one last little pop of color on here. Another shade. My daughter's favorite colors are pink and purple. I like greens and blues, so I always tell her I sneak a little green and blue into designs that I do for her so that it's a combination of both of us. I love teal with pink and purple. I think it looks so pretty. So I'm going to do this big line out here first because I think this daughter was too big for the center circle. So we're just going to grab paint, and I've got a sun ray that is making its way through my blinds, you guys. And that is going to drive me bonkers. Where is that coming from? Right there. Maybe I can put something that will block it. You guys would never guess what that just was, that I just used to block it. All right, so like I said, you guys, this is going to be a longer process than some of the videos, but I knew when we got into Mandala month that these were going to be some longer live videos. So if you have to hop off and come back, I'll make sure that I share the final rock when it's all done. But these are just really fun, and they're, I don't want to say endless, but you can continue to add little dabs and dots and dashes for a while after you get your main colors on. Even the one that I have back here, I might go back and add some more fun design to. But I do have to say, using these dotting tools to color them in, I'm really liking it. There was a video in our rock painting tutorials group. If you're not a member for that, you just search on Facebook for rock painting tutorials. And it's a group, not a page. So other people are allowed to share their rock painting tutorials or step-by-step pictures that they've created. And there's somebody that's been sharing videos, and she does her entire rocks. She does her lines with a black pen, and she paints her entire rocks with these dotting tools. And I thought, you know, that might be really nice to try. And I am going to have to say that it's definitely something I'll be doing more and more. And just like everything else, the more I do or attempt to do these, the better I'll get it using them. Like I said, this is only the second time I've ever used dotting tools to paint like this, you know, other than dotting. And it's my second time using my pip, and I'm telling you, this is going to be used a lot. I have a lot of different ways that I think that I'll be able to use it for some other designs I have in mind as well. So stay tuned for that too. But this is Mandala month, so I'm trying to work on different mandala techniques so everybody can try to find something that they enjoy to do mandala wise, because not everybody can do dots. Not everybody can do lines. If you don't think you can do either like this, the link up above goes to our site where there's a lot of different ideas of things you can try. So last color here, or last big shape of color here is our pink. Oh, the sun's moving. As the sun's moving, I'm gonna have to move my, you guys, it's a thing of hydrogen peroxide. There we go. I didn't shake that up, and we're gonna need it. So again, make sure your lids are on tight if you do this shaking, because you don't want a bunch of paint to end up in the area where it twists to go on and off, because it'll get to be a gunky mess over time. All right, for this guy, we're gonna, and I don't pay that much attention to what size of dotting tools I'm using. I just kind of grab what I think is gonna work best to get the paint on there. And most of them come with one smaller side and one larger side. So that helps a lot. Yeah, but I think that this one might be a little bit big for the smaller side. So I'm gonna put this dot in here just to use that paint. I'll go with a slightly smaller tool. I tried to get ahead of myself and work faster, and with these it just doesn't work like that. You got to practice patience. Last one. Alrighty, there we go. We made it all the way around. Yay! Like I said, I kind of want this to expand a little bit more, but I don't want to keep you guys here forever. So I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to do some dots to get out to the edge a little bit further. So I'm just going to grab my black here and one of my dotting tools. I didn't have much black, I forgot to shake it. And I'm just going to walk some dots out. So I'm going to go right on off the tip. I don't have enough paint in there. Hold on. Didn't even use my own trick. Sometimes I forget. Let's go ahead and twist that lid back on. Give it a good shake. So we have some paint to actually work with here. There we go, that's better. So again, we'll try that again. Because you want a good amount of paint on your dabber when you're doing dots. Because you want the dot to pull off. You don't necessarily want to make your dot using, like pressing down with your tool. So we'll do that one there. One there. Seeing these lines, see, they still come in handy here because I can place a dot on each line and I know it's going to be right where it needs to be. Like that, and then I'm going to do my opposite side, and I'm going to walk a couple dots out from here. So if you're going to walk dots, the thing I'm learning, you want to have a good amount of paint on your dotter, and then you're going to place one down, and you can kind of walk them away. Look at that, I got 5 off of that one, see, because I had a good amount of paint. Oh, my light's coming back through again. Let's see, I can follow that line down. Gosh, this is driving me nuts, you guys. Maybe I can move my body now. But you can use that line so that your shapes are moving all the way up. Let's see if I sit right here. Can I block it without, oh gosh, without actually knocking my camera? The joys of lives, you guys. See if I can just move it up so you're just not right in the light. So this one I'm going to do just a couple, just to kind of get over the edge. And these guys up here I will do just maybe like one. I can fit a couple. Like that. And I do want to do some black designs inside as well. I'm going to grab my super small tip here. This one is like tiny. And I want to do like a tiny little dot in the center of that teal. Just like that. Fresh paint each dot. That. Adding these little dots and details start to add a lot of personality to your rock, which makes them lots and lots of fun to do. Now I'm going to redo the lining on this after it's completely dry. I'm not going to do that while it's wet. That would just be really hard to do. I am going to do a teal dot in my black dot there, with some little ones around it. So we're just going to scoop up a good little dollop of paint here. That black is nice and dry. Make sure your dots are dry if you're going to stack them. You don't want to go in there and pull up a bunch of black paint. And we're going to go with the small one. And we have a guest post from Miranda Patron on the site, and I love this tip. When she does her little dots in the center, when she's working all around her center, she just steals paint from that center dot. So I'm just going to do that here. You just dab right in there. Oh, and watch out for your outside dots. I just put my finger in one. Just dab right into that center dot, and you can pull and dot around it. Because for these tiny little dots, it's plenty of paint in there. So you're able to kind of get those little dots around the center like that. Now, once your paint kind of dries, you'll be able to see if there's anywhere that you might need more paint. I think the outline might catch that once I get the outline back on there. You can stack these dots on the outside with some extra color. I'll probably do that. I'm going to add in a lot more to this. I promise I'll share the picture when it's all done. But I find that I tend to start rushing when I'm live and the videos get a little long. So for those of you that have kind of been hanging out this whole time, thanks. Thanks for the hearts and the shares and everything. I hope you try these out. If you need a pip, head to the link that says Spiral Rock Painting Tutorial, because they featured a tutorial how you can use these to do the spiral rocks as well. So I promise I will come back and share a picture when this is all said and done. It's just a matter of continuing to adding dots and lines, whatever you want to do. You can make these as intricate as you want to. So everybody have a wonderful day. We'll see you all soon. I can't wait to see more of your mandala creations. Bye-bye.